What if a god decided he wanted you and transformed himself into something beautiful and harmless just to get close to you? This isn't a modern fantasy story. It's one of Greek mythology's most famous tales, and it changed the ancient world forever. In the Bronze Age Mediterranean, the Greeks told stories that explained everything from natural phenomena to human emotions. These myths weren't just entertainment. They were lessons about power, desire, and the consequences of divine intervention in mortal lives. The gods of Olympus possessed incredible abilities, but they also had very human weaknesses. None demonstrated this contradiction more dramatically than Zeus, the king of the gods himself. Zeus ruled from Mount Olympus with absolute authority over gods and mortals alike. He controlled thunder and lightning, enforced justice, and maintained cosmic order. But Zeus had one notorious weakness that repeatedly got him into trouble. He couldn't resist beautiful mortals, and his infidelity to his wife Hera caused countless complications. Each affair brought consequences that rippled through generations, affecting both divine and human realms. Our story begins in Phoenicia, a prosperous region along the eastern Mediterranean coast in what's now Lebanon. Here lived Europa, a princess of extraordinary beauty and grace. She was the daughter of King Agenor and Queen Telephassa, living a life of royal privilege and comfort. Europa spent her days with her companions, enjoying the peaceful pleasures of her father's kingdom. She had no idea that the king of the gods had been watching her. From his throne on Olympus, Zeus spotted Europa playing with her attendants in a meadow near the sea. He became instantly obsessed with her beauty and charm. But Zeus faced a significant problem. His wife, Hera, was famously jealous and had punished many of his previous lovers with terrible curses. Zeus needed a strategy that would allow him to approach Europa without detection. He decided on one of his favorite tactics: divine transformation. Zeus descended from Olympus and transformed himself into a magnificent white bull. This wasn't just any bull. He made himself appear gentle, beautiful, and completely unthreatening. His coat gleamed like fresh snow in sunlight. His horns curved gracefully like crescent moons. His eyes held an almost human intelligence and kindness. Most importantly, he radiated an aura of calm that would make anyone feel safe in his presence. The disguised god positioned himself in the meadow where Europa played with her friends. The young woman noticed the stunning white bull grazing peacefully nearby. They were immediately captivated by his beauty and gentle demeanor. Unlike normal bulls, this creature seemed almost tame, like a pet rather than livestock. Europa felt drawn to the animal in a way she couldn't quite explain. Slowly, Europa approached the bull, extending her hand cautiously. The bull remained perfectly still, allowing her to touch his soft coat. He nuzzled her hand affectionately, acting more like a devoted dog than a powerful beast. Europa laughed with delight at his friendly behavior. She wove flower garlands and draped them around his horns. The bull accepted these decorations with apparent pleasure, further winning her trust. Emboldened by the bull's docile nature, Europa made a fateful decision. She climbed onto his broad back, thinking it would be amusing to ride such a gentle creature. Her friends encouraged her, seeing no danger in the situation. This was exactly what Zeus had been waiting for. The moment Europa settled on his back, everything changed in an instant. The bull suddenly sprang to life and bolted toward the sea. Europa screamed and grabbed his horns, trying desperately to hold on. Her friends could only watch in horror as the bull charged into the waves. But instead of drowning, the bull swam powerfully across the Mediterranean. Europa clung to him, terrified and confused, as her homeland disappeared behind them. The gentle creature had become her captor. Zeus carried Europa across the sea to the island of Crete, the largest island in the Greek world. When they reached the shore, Zeus revealed his true identity. He transformed back into his divine form and declared his love for the princess. Europa found herself far from home, alone with the king of the gods, with no way to return to her family. The power imbalance was absolute and undeniable. What happened next depends on which ancient source you read. Some versions romanticize the encounter, claiming Europa fell in love with Zeus. Others are more ambiguous about her feelings and choices. What's clear is that Europa remained in Crete and bore Zeus's 3 sons. These children would become legendary figures themselves, shaping the mythology and history of the ancient world. Their first son was Minos, who became the legendary king of Crete. He established a powerful maritime empire and commissioned the famous labyrinth that housed the Minotaur. Their second son was Rhadamanthus, known for his wisdom and justice. After death, he became one of the judges of the underworld. Their third son was Sarpedon, who ruled Lycia and fought in the Trojan War. These three sons of Zeus became rulers and lawgivers across the Mediterranean. Zeus eventually arranged for Europa to marry Asterion, the king of Crete, who adopted her sons. He gave Europa 3 gifts as compensation for taking her from her homeland. He gave her Talus, a bronze giant who protected Crete from invaders. He gave her Laelaps, a hunting dog that never missed its prey. And he gave her a javelin that never missed its target. These magical gifts couldn't replace her family or her freedom of choice. Europa's father sent her brothers to search for her throughout the known world. They never found her, but their quest led to the founding of several important cities. Her brother Cadmus eventually founded Thebes after the oracle told him to stop searching. Her family was scattered across the Mediterranean, all because Zeus couldn't control his desire. One divine obsession shattered an entire royal family. The story raises uncomfortable questions about power, consent, and consequences. Zeus used deception to get close to Europa, then literally carried her away from everything she knew. He was the most powerful being in the universe, and she was a mortal with no ability to refuse him. Ancient Greeks told this story for centuries, but they interpreted it in ways that reflected their own cultural values about power and gender. Yet Europa's legacy extended far beyond her personal story. The entire continent of Europe takes its name from this Phoenician princess. Ancient geographers named the landmass after her, making her one of the few mortals to achieve such lasting recognition. Her image appeared on countless works of art, from ancient pottery to Renaissance paintings. The European Union even uses her story in its symbolism today. The myth of Zeus and Europa reminds us that Greek mythology doesn't offer simple moral lessons. These stories explored the complexity of power, desire, and their consequences. They showed gods behaving badly and mortals caught in situations beyond their control. The ancient Greeks understood that power often corrupts, even divine power, and that the powerful rarely face consequences for their actions. This tale has inspired artists, writers, and thinkers for thousands of years. It appears in works by Ovid, Moschus, and countless others. Painters like Titian and Rembrandt created masterpieces depicting Europa's abduction. The story continues to resonate because it explores timeless themes of desire, deception, and the abuse of power. It reminds us that even in mythology, actions have consequences that echo through generations. The chase between Zeus and Europa didn't end with romance. It ended with displacement, a complicated legacy, and a family forever changed by divine intervention. For more myths and legends, please like, comment, and subscribe to Mythic Narratives Hub.